maybe. I don't know. So with them, you know, the board did allow them to go out for requests for qualification, and then we'll just have to go back. But, you know, I'm concerned about that.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, it's certainly possible that because, and I agree completely with Commissioner Sanders saying, the consortium consultants are interested in capturing as much money as they possibly can out of this contract. And so if we say we need planning help using consortium money, they're going to make the assumption that they're going to do it.
Well, I mean, this question needs to be asked. It needs to be asked. And number two, you're trying to figure out who's going to be prioritized to get this first little round of funding. Are the planning and design going to be considered part of that first round so that we can get prepared for the next round?
I don't know. I presume that's yes.
Well, I need that question answered, and we need the question answered whether the individual counties will have to use the consultant that they're advertising
They're
for.
very vague on it right now. At the point that they get the RFQ, that's when I'll ask the questions on that. But I will say this, that for the planning stages, Alan, you reiterate what I say. If I'm saying it wrong, you tell me. For the planning stages for the consultants, there's $5.3 million set aside for that. They've only used 1.5. There's another 3 point whatever to be used. So,
But they won't use that to help us plan our projects.
right.
What are they using it for?
I don't know.
And that's what some of the concerns was about. That's why Commissioner Dukes was wanting to take it back to his board and expand on it a little bit, because we want to go into it a little bit farther than what they're taking it. And face value, you know, like I said, to me, I didn't have no problem with them going up and preparing an RFQ, but I want to know what we're going to be voting on way before we vote on it, because it may be something that's going to be contradictory to what we want to do locally. So we're going to have to be careful on that. So I'm monitoring it though.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
one question to Alan.
Yes, sir.
If you know, you may not know, the consultant they're talking about might be requiring us to use, are they also going to be paid out of the funds that we would be receiving?
Yes.
So what was
That's-
this
that's
other
the
money
critical
what
point.
was this
That's
other
real
pot of money you're talking about? And they only used $1 million and something dollars. What is that money for? And where did
That's
it
the
come
overall
from?
overhead, the cost of the, I don't know. But I asked 3 times, Melissa.
After I told you, you asked her,
Right.
remember?
Well, the 12.7, Melissa, is our planning money coming out of 12.7? Yes, Mr. Pierce. If any planning money that you want out of the consortium comes out of your pot of money.
So what's this other pot of money for that you were referring? Is that the money that was supposed to be paid to the consultants of the consortium?
It's helped put the state expenditure plan together. And
Okay, so that's not planning money.
Well, I call it planning money because they're a consultant, but it's helping put the plan together at
Okay.
a higher level, is what
Okay.
I understand.
At 5.3.
So once they get this plan together, any monies that are left over, that goes back to where the monies came from?
I don't know, Commissioner.
They had-
I don't know. I can promise you nothing's gonna be left over.
Okay, so so back to my original question, in design and planning work, that comes out of our pot of money?
Yes.
Will we get that little bit of design and planning money that we need for the EOC and a little bit out here at Creekmore Channel? Will that be allocated out of the first 12.7 million? Because we're not asking for no project,
It
we just
could be.
need planning money.
It could be. I mean, that's something we haven't made clear yet by a vote. Do we want, of course, we hope the EOC gets designed some other way, and we'll know in just a few weeks whether it is or not.
Okay.
But I can't answer that yet.
Okay, for the sake of moving on, could you put these questions down that we can reiterate the first meeting in May as we vote on this stuff? And see if you can find any answers to these questions that have been posed today that you could bring back to the next meeting as we
Okay.
prioritize these projects and agree on the projects and.
And Mr. Chairman, that's the reason why I didn't want to really go into it, that maybe between now and the first meeting in May, we'll learn a little bit more.
Right.
Of course you are, because, on some of it, because there's legislation in the legislature right now that may be helping the EOCs, you know, and all that. So we'll
Right.
know that hopefully by the first meeting in May. We'll know that.
Okay, let's move on to item number 2.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, item number 2, board update on the RAC meeting and the restore activities. On April 12th, the county's RAC committee the RAC committee had a meeting and had a very productive meeting where it finalized the application form and the guidance document. RAC members proposed some changes, so those are being incorporated by Dewberry. This is the proposed schedule for accepting the application for restored projects. Sometime in early May, the RAC committee will hold a workshop for all restore applicants, so the application process will be discussed with the applicants. The application process is being guided by Treasury requirements, and we're using an application process that has been used in other counties. Sometime between May 15th and July 15th is the dates I've put it, but it'll be a 60-day period, will be the application period. There might be a second workshop for applicants during this period if necessary. We just see how many people are, who's applying. And then after the application closes, sometime between July 15th and August 15th, take about 30 days, the review and validation of applications by Dewberry. And then in September, the valid applications will be scored by the RAC committee and recommendations provided to the county commission for your final approval. And then sometime in November, we hope to submit the MYP to Treasury for their review and approval. So that's sort of the timeline we're working on. I just want to let the public know about that. Number 3, on an entirely different subject. I'm seeking board action to authorize the submission of a hazard mitigation grant program application, or HMGP, for the acquisition of approximately 6 acres of property owned by Capital City Bank on Alligator Point. The HMG application will be submitted with the understanding that no county tax dollars are being used towards the purchase of the property. The benefit of the residents on Alligator Point is that by acquiring the property, the county can then smooth out the worst curve or intersection on the new road, and that is the intersection where Tom Roberts merges into Harbor Circle. We need the bank property in order to fix that corner. And considering that Tom Roberts is now the permanent access to the western part of the point, it will be beneficial to try and make that intersection better. Another purpose of the acquisition will be to remove Capital City from litigating any other road improvements the county is trying to make in the area, specifically the $3.5 million $3.5 million FEMA project the county is trying to get approved that would protect Alligator Drive just to the east of the bank property. I attended a meeting last week with senior officials with the State Hazard Mitigation Program and have been encouraged to seek funds to purchase the property. I would even say the state supports the acquisition so long as the application is adequate. The target deadline for applying is May 6th. Just to reiterate, the property that we'll be buying, and I'm sorry I'm old school not using your PowerPoint, is the area here in yellow south of Tom Roberts. There's one other acre of land north that we are not acquiring, has no value to us, and the bank understands that they would be holding that and selling off on their own. But by acquiring this property here, we would be able to smooth out this curve here, which is the most contentious intersection now on the Tom Roberts route. And as I said, this is the permanent route from now on. There will never be a road back down here. This is the route. So if we can smooth that corner out, that'll be good. And then this is not a secret. Capital City has said that they're reviewing their options. Mr. Shu and I, we're not holding anything, out of the board's knowledge. They could claim, they would not necessarily be successful. They could claim, though, that our activities down here with the revetment and sheet pile we're trying to do to protect this section of road is impacting their property here. And they could hold up our DEP permit for this down here. It seems counterproductive. It seems like they're cutting off the nose to spite their face. But they did it down here in front of their own property and held that permit up for a long time. There's no saying that they couldn't do it over here. So, I'm not going to categorize what the reason this acquisition is, but I'll just say it simply that, to me, getting them out of the way is a benefit to the community down there. And right now, we're buying the property for open space. We're not making any other improvements there, but just trying to get them out of the way so we can straighten out this road and just get them off the table so we don't have to deal with them in the future.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all of that between Harbor Circle and the black line over there up toward Rock, yeah, all that's gonna be,
Yes.
okay. Not one county dollar is going into it.
Towards the acquisition, no dollars.
Not
towards
one
that.
county tax dollar is going into it. Because I made those people a promise that I would not support any county tax dollars going into the purchase of that land, and I'm not gonna go back on it. I mean, that's just the way I feel about it. And I can tell you, I understand the reasoning behind here. I don't like it, but I understand it. And I will not be opposed to it as long as there is a reason why we're doing it. If there's a reason why we're doing it, I don't have no problem with it. I don't like it, but I don't have no problem with it. But one county tax dollar had better not go into the purchase of that. Because I'm not going to be called a liar now.
No, I understand. No. The application will not have any county match dollars.
Well,
Okay, and the board action that you're wanting is a motion and a second to allow you to move on with
Yes.
applying for this
Yes,
hazard
yes,
mitigation
yes.
grant?
Actually, I didn't write that, make me the authorizing agent, just similar to what you had to do with Restore. I have a similar letter where I'm the authorized agent to submit this on behalf of the board with no county net tax dollars.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you. That's all I have to say.
That's all you have. Anybody have anything for Mr. Allen? Okay, Michael Maroon, you
We
are
got a
up
bunch
next.
of things we want to talk to about today.
All right, we'll pick up my report on item number 5. Commissioner Jones would like to open the county's pedestrian access alleyways on the interior blocks in St. George Island. Opening these alleys would allow residents and visitors alike to travel to and from the beach without having to walk to the nearest street. The county's engineering firm agreed to do all 13 alleys on the west side of the island for $4,500. After the access alleys are surveyed, we will get with Mr. Neighbors about clearing these access alleys. This amount will be paid from the professional services account. Commissioner Jones will consider the right-of-way alleys on the east side sometime later. Board action.
Okay, on item number 5, when you're talking about pedestrian access alleys, are you talking about making it 8 foot wide, 20 foot wide, 60 foot wide?
They're already planted out.
They're platted on the plats as 8 feet in width.
8 feet in width?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see here.
8 foot?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, well, each interior, each lot along the offshore boulevard.
refuse it,
You can barely see it, it's right here. Each block, these interior blocks, they each have one, and they're planted there, they're 8 foot. Many of them have monuments already, so many of them will not take very long to get them identified.
Yeah.
Some of them, people have been using, some of them are open, some of them years ago, depending on who the president of Civic Club was, they've made civic projects to open up some of them. But this is a pathway, now that we're getting the island more built out, this is something I think will be of great value to the interior part, to get people down to the beach in a known designated access.
In the-
And it's not private property, it's dedicated to the public, it's part of the county right of way.
So it's basically in the same, it's not in the same locations as the Dune walkover?
Oh, no, it's not. In fact, the new walkovers are every street end, these are in the middle of the block.
Yeah.
So you'll walk down here, and then you'll start to jog over and go to the street.
Okay, okay.
Well,
Just say you're walking down the street.
I like the idea of opening them up. There's 20-something on Alligator Point, accesses.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the future, we may look at that.
Okay.
It's
But I do need
something,
board
because
action for
We need
this.
to go on in there. But now, over here on St. George Island, you don't have encroachments on them, do you?
I don't think there are, no.
No, they shouldn't be. Now, I mean, I'm not saying that somebody hasn't illegally built something, but
That's what I'm saying.
these are, this 8 foot wide, these are probably outside anybody's block. So there should be,
Okay.
we require 10-foot setbacks from property lines, so there shouldn't be anything encroaching. The challenge would be if there's a nice stand of scrub oak hammocks. Now, if we get to that point, we may come back and revisit whether, how we open that up, because I don't want to cut oak trees.
Clean up under it, and they walk up under
If
it,
they're tall enough,
cool
you
off
walk-
while they're going to the
yeah,
beach.
yeah. So there might be some states that move down over all of them, but that goal is to let's serve them out, and see what's out there.
So you're talking about putting signs on each one of these alleyways, pedestrian traffic only?
Yes.
Yes.
Because,
definitely.
of course, if you leave them halfway blocked with oak trees and stuff, then that's, but if you don't, then people are gonna start accessing the property from the alleys.
Yep. Golf carts.
So-
That's right.
So we need to make sure that we put signs at both ends of these accesses, but that,
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to open them up for cars, there'll be a lot of stealing going on through there.
No, they're not, yeah, you would never.
I'm just throwing that out there, that we put signs on both ends, that it's just pedestrian foot traffic.
Okay.
No motorized
That'll be
vehicles,
part of the motion.
whatever.
You can make it part of the motion.
All right, we do have a motion by somebody.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner
It's a motion,
Jones.
though. I make the motion that we have it surveyed to try to do it, to make sure it's gonna be marked pedestrian alleyways only. That's my motion.
Okay, we have a second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion?
Yeah, they gonna say I've been looking at that stuff closed all this time, I don't wanna see it stay closed.
All right, we do have a motion and a second.
I have
It
a-
gonna
I
be
have a-
there.
I have something for that, Mr. Chairman. Most of the people that have been living on the island the whole time have taken the contention and the stance when they've addressed me. The county promised to do this years ago, and they've just acted like it didn't matter. So that's why we're approaching it.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further comments from the board? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
It ain't been brought up while I've been here.
Item number 6, I've informed the board that due to a scheduling conflict with the state's testing dates and our billing official's provisional license expiration date, it was necessary to negotiate a contract with EPCI. EPCI provides code administration and inspection services. EPCI will provide these services to the county on a temporary basis. As long as needed, we get our billing official worked out. Board action needed to authorize the chairman's signature on the contract. Attorney Schuler has reviewed the contract.
It's a 3-month short period of
Yes.
time. With a
For 3 months?
It's a 3-month contract, and you have the ability to terminate it with 30 days' notice.
Yeah, or extend, either which way.
Pleasure of the board. We have to do it because we
Yeah, I'll make a
got,
motion to approve. And
Second.
we have 30 days, we can, okay,
Yes.
so that'd be fine.
we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? The motion passed.
Along those same lines, at a previous meeting, the board, by motion, directed me to run an ad for a billing official. There was some issue at the Apalachicola Times, Louis, and the ad only ran once instead of 3 requested dates. I'm running the ad for 2 more weeks with a new expiration date for the submission of application.
Are you sure this is gonna run the next 2 weeks?
Lois, yes. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yes, sir. I've been in contact with the.
Well, I mean, this can go on and on if they don't run the ads like they're asked to do.
Yeah.
If they're not gonna run the advertisement the way they should, then we need to find another way of advertising,
Okay.
because this is ridiculous. You
Yeah.
ask for 3 weeks advertisement, runs for 1
1
week.
week, yeah.
I mean, is that done through fault, or is that done intentionally?
Well, I hope it's not intentionally. I'm hoping.
Well, I mean, we're sitting here without a building official.
Yeah, by fault.
Uh,
And they narrowed it because we've only gotten a few applications because it only ran for 1 week, to be very honest with you, sir.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we haven't hired another firm to
Yeah.
take care of the building official for this county.
Yes, sir.
And that's not what we should be doing. We should be looking after, this county should be looking after itself,
I agree.
not relying on an outside
Outside.
contractor to produce the work for us.
Yes. So
I mean,
I'll make it imperative that they run it, and they send me a proof that they ran it too, so.
Okay.
you know. Item number 8, board action to authorize the chairman's signature on a letter of support for small matching grant for the rehabilitation of Carabelle's old city hall. The small matching grant is for $50,000 and is phase 4 of their renovation project. The board has sent letters of support in the past for this project.
pleasure of the board.
Second.
Who made the motion? You made the motion, Commissioner Lockley?
Yeah.
I never heard a motion.
I say I make a motion.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Massey, second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
Item number 9, board action to support and authorize the chairman's signature on a proclamation recognizing April 21st, 2017 as Power Talk 21 Day. This is an effort started by Mothers Against Drunk Driving to encourage parents and caregivers to embrace their important role in influencing America's youth and their decisions about drinking alcohol. Ms. Claudia Machado, she was supposed to be here at the last meeting, she couldn't make it, of the Florida Northwest MAD office, conferred with Mr. David Walker of the Franklin County Health Department about including local language and statistics relating to Franklin County in the proclamation.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lockley, second by Commissioner Massey. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? The motion carries.
On Wednesday, April 5th, I met with Sheriff Smith. The sheriff would like the board to consider implementing a drug court program in Franklin County. As the board may know, drug court is a popular program, like a deferred prosecution agreement or a pretrial intervention program, offered by different counties throughout the state. However, drug court is funded by the county's budget, not by the court system. It is offered to first-time offenders with no prior convictions, along with other requirements. Since there are many pros, cons, and parts to implementing a drug court program, I recommend the board allow me to form a committee to discuss this matter further. I'll contact the sheriff's department, the state attorney, public defender, clerk's office, and the Second Judicial Circuit for representatives to sit on this committee to discuss, research this matter further, and present a recommendation to the board. In addition, if the attorney says it's okay, maybe one of these county commissioners would want to sit on the board too. No? Okay. Father said no. So to serve, on this committee so as we can make a recommendation to the board.
I don't have no problem going out and getting them together, because I know what the drug court is intended to do is to take somebody that, you know, makes a mistake when they're 14, 15, 16 years old, not have to live with it until they're 60, 70, or 80. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it takes care of it. So I will make a motion that we get a committee up and make a recommendation back to this board how we can proceed on it without using a lot of the tax dollars for the county. I'm on tax dollars.
No,
today,
I
y'all.
understand.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Sanders. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion? One thing I'd like to point out here, Michael, in your number 10 paragraph, like a deferred prosecution agreement or a pretrial intervention program. The pretrial intervention program is paid for by the,
Court.
well, they have programs out there that are paid for by the individual
Oh, divided the.
that wishes to participate in a pretrial
Yeah.
intervention program, which keeps, you know, their record is basically wiped away if they complete that course. But that's paid for by that individual. It's not paid for by the county, and it's not paid for by the court. This is a program that they can enter into at their own, you know, at their own liking to not have a record, as we're mentioning, 14 and 15-year-old kids that get into, make mistakes, as most of us have, and not have a mark by their name that still allows them to go on further in life and get a decent job, such as nursing and some other things that if you're convicted of certain crime, you have no chance of moving forward in those
Yeah.
particular fields.
Call it a program, you work for the program, it works for you.
Yeah, if you guys.
Pretty much without a drug court, which costs the county money.
Yeah, remember,
Yeah.
do you remember, myself, you, Commissioner Massey, we sat in, what, 2 conferences ago?
That's correct.
And where we sat there and they talked about civil citations and
That's
different
correct.
programs. So that might be the recommendation we come back to, that we bring back to this board, you know?
That's correct.
So we'll see, but.
And there's other things going on in the legislature this year that pertains to that, as we were talking earlier. I think they have like 15 days left, 16 days left up there, so we may see some movement on some of these different issues. But anyways, we do have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Sanders. Who was that second by? Lockley. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
Item 11, recently Commissioner Lockley and I have been receiving inquiries, to be nice about it, as to say why the county is not allowing the CDBG program to repair or replace mobile homes within the city of Apalachicola. I contact Ms. Debbie Belcher for verification. Ms. Belcher stated, and I quote, "The county can only spend housing CDBG money in the unincorporated area," end of quote. Both the city of Apalachicola and the city of Carabel each have active CDBG programs and would be able to apply for the same type of funding, if they so choose, once their current CDBG projects are closed. So,
I was told that some of the people at the city were telling the people in the county that we could do it. And I told the people, we can't do it, but people at City Hall
Tell them
tell
something different.
them something different.
Mr. Noah, if you'll get up with Miss Debbie Belcher, I've got up with her, they fix to come out with some with the city of Carabel. I mean, we got one out there, we gotta help get a trailer, fix to come up, and we can do it through our city. They can help us just like the county does, she'll go through the city with it, I've been through the same issue. If it's fixed to come up, well, we can use it through the city to help them.
If they don't have a CDBG grant
Yeah.
open.
yeah, that's,
See, but the city got a Appalachia got a CBD grant.
I think a stormwater
Yeah.
grant, what they have active right now, and until that's closed out and reported on, there's, you know, nothing they can do about that. That's the direction the city of Appalachia chose to go in. We can't control that.
Yeah, it's something they can do. They can start telling people that tell the
Same
truth.
over there.
It'd be great if we could control that.
Item 12. Last week, Mr. Cooper, Weems CEO, presented me with an invoice from Culpeper for payment. This invoice is for $62,500 and is for the pre-construction services for Weems Hospital that includes creating the guaranteed maximum price for the construction of the new building. Attached are the minutes from the April 5th, 2016 regular meeting where the board discussed this price and the contract, then approved the contract by motion. Board action is needed to authorize a manual check to pay this invoice. I did not include it in the run because I needed verification from the board.
Pleasure of the board.
So moved.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lockley. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Massey. Any discussion?
Now I got a question. What was the Grossman max price? I don't remember.
Well, I just printed one and I have some printed for the
You
board.
sent Michael?
Mr. Cooper just sent that to me while you guys were working up with Alan.
Did you? Because I remember, he sent
copy
several
machine.
numbers, but he never
should have
did
like
say.
7 copies.
Because I thought
Thank you.
Culpepper was gonna come and make a presentation on what the gross maximum price was. That's why I'm saying.
I'm trying to think, I'm not sure if they.
I
did or not,
think what
if
it was,
Cooper
they
presented.
gave us a gross maximum price, and then I think Culpepper initially was a little bit over, so they had to go back and do some renegotiation that you're talking about, and I think
Yeah, but I don't
they brought it
remember.
in below what we established the gross maximum price to be. If I'm not mistaken, it was like $150,000 less than what the.
Is 10.2 million familiar to anybody?
Yes.
What I remember.
Gross
It is.
maximum price?
No, I think that's the amount allocated for the construction.
Oh.
I think, yeah.
To the
that's what I
construction
was-
manager, what about 7? No.
No, All right, let's see.
I don't see anything leaping out.
It should be in the back of it where. Gross max, or guaranteed maximum price for metal. But let's see what it says.